Well, I'm thrilled to be joined by Patricia Morgan, the Executive Director of JerseyCan. Patricia, thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure.
So let's talk about this brand new one-of-a-kind study discussing COVID slide or learning loss here in the state of New Jersey. Can you give me a high-end explanation of what kind of data and projections you're seeing in the study?
Sure. We felt that it was important to look across the state of New Jersey, use real New Jersey students and real New Jersey data to understand the impact of COVID across our state in order to be able to help support our education recovery for our students. And so what we did is we reached out to schools who were giving their students diagnostic assessments in the fall. And 15 schools raised their hand and came forward and said, we want to be a part of this important study. So they gave us their student data, and we collected data from over 18,000 students, again, from 15 schools in grades 3 through 8. And what we found was that, unfortunately, our students were not making the progress we would have wanted them to make in the first half of this school year. And ultimately, because of the closures last spring, the summer slide, and now this less than expected growth, only about 1 in 3 students is on grade level in English, and only 1 in 4 students is now on grade level in math.
Let's take a deeper dive there for a second, because there's numbers and information that are built into the data that you found that really highlight the further inequity and the further challenges within low-income Black and Latinx households and communities. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, we found that on our average students were losing about 30% of learning loss in English in the fall and about 36% in math. But when we looked across the board at subgroups, we found that our Black and Latinx students were losing even more learning time. And so for our Black students, it was about 43% in English and about 50% in math. They had the biggest losses when we looked at the first half of this school year.
You know, this is a focused study, and everybody is very concerned about, learning loss and the COVID slide. You know, parents are watching their kids at home or in hybrid classrooms. They know this is happening, but these inequalities were already existing in some households, and now it's even worse. I wanted to have you speak to that a little bit.
Yes, New Jersey is often heralded as one of the top education systems in the country, but New Jersey has these long-standing persistent achievement gaps. And the achievement gap is the gap, the difference in performance between our average, our more wealthy students, and our economically disadvantaged students, and our students with different subgroup characteristics. And so there were significant achievement gaps and opportunity gaps before we even knew what the word COVID was. And so what's really important to understand is that we had subsets of our student body across the state who were already half a year, maybe a year and a half behind grade level. And now when we add the fact that 50% of learning was lost in the first half of this school year, that's setting students even further back. And that's what really troubles us. And that's why we feel that we need this data to start a broad conversation across the state with as many stakeholders as possible, because we need to understand where our students are so that we can meaningfully address it. Certainly, we knew that this was a problem before, but now with these added lag times in terms of student learning, we may need to consider additional options that we weren't considering 15 months ago before we knew about COVID.
Well, speaking of options, that really is my next question, which can you tell me what recommendations you have in the study to mitigate learning loss and what options we may have?
The most important priority right now is for us to urgently prioritize summer learning. This could be summer school, but it could also be summer camps. It could be high dosage tutoring. It can be any learning over the summer so that we don't have more students falling behind during that time off of school. That's critically important. Our study found that during COVID, 143,000 students fell off grade level in English and 129,000 fell off grade level in math. So we don't want any more students to fall off because of the summer break. There's other interventions that can be used as well. High dosage tutoring, which is great for students who might just have small gaps in one area, like reading fluency or fact fluency in math. That's a great solution for those students. But then for those students who are further behind, or for families who feel like their students just need more time to get back into school, acclimate, and maybe focus on their social and emotional health before turning to rigorously pursuing their academic gains, we should give parents the option to retain their students in their current grade for this year.
Right. So repeating a year of study to make sure that they're ready to move forward.
Correct. Give them the gift of some additional time to be able to either acclimate to the school environment or to be able to access those concepts that maybe were difficult to understand via virtual or hybrid learning.
Wow. It's such an important topic. It's right here in front of us to deal with. You and your team have really done a fascinating job with this study. It's really a deep dive. Thank you for taking time to talk with me, and we'll talk with you real soon.
Thank you.